First of all, I'd like to thank the Martinet Society for inviting all the candidates here tonight, because in so many circumstances, we're not all allowed to participate because it's all about the money. But I thank you for letting us be here today to hear our words, because some of us independents have some of the best ideas that I've heard on the floor. My name is Beryl Dillard. I'm a lifetime Louisiana resident. I'm a Native American. I'm a Marine Corps veteran. I'm a small business owner, but most of all, I'm a citizen of the great state of Louisiana. We need to put the government back into a position of service and take it away from a position of power. We need people in office who are going to represent you and not the special interests. We need people in Washington who care about the people and the communities in which they come from, and that's me. My name is Beryl Dillard, number 1 on the ballot, and I want you to remember me because I am here for you.
Hello, I'm Thomas B. Clement. I'm the Libertarian Party, and I'm asking everybody to vote Libertarian for the first time. And there's a lot of reasons why, 20 trillion reasons why. And this is why we need to vote Libertarian for the first time. It's just immoral to vote DNC or RNC. And there's a lot more that we could do than what we're doing now. And first thing we do is just stop borrowing $1 trillion every year. That would be a historic moment for all of us to move forward as the greatest nation that we are. That we don't need to borrow $1 trillion and be the best in the world. So this is what I'm trying to tell everybody, to stop borrowing $1 trillion. That we're still going to have national security. We can have a flat tax rate of 25% for businesses and 10 for individuals. In that 1 minute, well, I hope we can stop $1 trillion. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Hello, my name is Gregory Taylor. Unlike many of the people out here, I have no business. I don't own any companies. My last job was a janitor. I cleaned for a living. I took care of my mom. I was a caregiver. I miss her every day. But when I hear people who talk about how, libertarian and stuff, that's not gonna happen. The government is not gonna be out your life, so we gotta make the government work better for us. In the early 1800s, the life expectancy for people in the United States was 35 years old. Now it's 90. In the late 1800s, the war on drugs was actually started. To go after Asians, Japanese, or any of them, it was started because racism. The system is broken because it's designed to go after people who should never take their freedoms away.
Hi, my name is Donald Crawford. I want to thank you for inviting us all here tonight. Just a little bit about me. I was adopted at birth. I actually grew up in Gentilly, about 2 miles from here. We were poor. I actually know what government cheese tastes like because we used to get it. When I started college, my second semester, my father died, and I had to sign a $30,000 mortgage to pay for his medical bills. So I kind of started off in the hole, but the Pell Grant was there, and the Pell Grant got me through college along with some part-time jobs, and I was able to graduate from undergraduate with no debt, which was a great start. Speaking of Pell Grant, Richard Nixon was the one who signed it into law. He was a Republican, and I'm a Republican. Going back further in history, we've got the Civil Rights Act of 1964. More Republicans voted for it than Democrats. The Civil Rights Act of 1957 was signed by Eisenhower, who was a Republican. 14th and 15th Amendments. Almost 100% Republican voted for it, 0 Democrats. So just give a Republican a chance, don't look at the R, look at the person.
Also, the Republican platform
Okay. Charles Marsala. I'm the only former mayor running for the Senate race, and what that means to you is that I really understand what it takes to run a city government and a lot of the issues facing cities that need to be addressed by the federal government. In particular, Louisiana has a $12 billion unreported pension liability. And we've seen Detroit and Mississippi have tremendous problems with that. Gatsby was in place. I took care of that when I was mayor of a town. And I'm really appalled to see that the treasurer of Louisiana hasn't addressed that in the last couple of years while he's reporting minor waste and other issues. I'm very familiar with flooding. We addressed flooding in my town. We addressed emergency response. I've also worked on term limits for judges. I'm very familiar with the legal system, and the 7th Amendment, in my opinion, is in jeopardy, the right to a trial. I've worked on police relationships, and I've also worked on a lot of other initiatives which are listed in this flyer here, which has 10 strong initiatives, including the dead zone. Our shrimpers right now are taking a tremendous toll because there is no oxygen in a lot of the water in the Gulf of Mexico. Thank you.
I am Reverend Dr. Leroy Gillum. I'm the president of Southeastern Christian Association. We go after judges when they mess up in the courtroom. We've got our 14 judges off the bench within the last 10 years and working to get more. We've got over 10,000 young men out of prison in Mississippi. I'm the one man that made Governor Barber lose respect for himself on national television. But I want to say concerning the 1964 Act, that was not for us. We still don't have our voting rights all the way. Every 25 years, Congress has to vote to assure us that we will be able to vote. But I say today, it is time that we stand up and get what's right for us.
Could someone come in order for me? My name is Derek Edwards. I want to thank everyone for coming out here tonight. I'm from New Orleans. I grew up about 10 minutes away from here, so I definitely consider myself having the home field advantage. I broke my neck my last year in high school playing football at John F. Kennedy High School. I'm the only candidate on this panel with a bachelor's and master's in accounting from Tulane University, which I will utilize to cut wasteful government spending. In addition to that, I have a law degree from Loyola University. I'm an attorney, practicing attorney at a law firm here in New Orleans. As a practicing attorney, I have an opportunity to make a profound difference in the lives of my clients, one client at a time. But as your next United States Senator, I will have an opportunity to make a profound difference in the lives of millions of individuals in Louisiana by improving education, cutting wasteful government spending, and reforming healthcare. Thank you.
Hi everyone, good evening. My name is Caroline Fayard. I want to say thank you to the Martinet Society for having me here this evening and all of the candidates. I make my home here in New Orleans, although I was born and raised in Denham Springs and Livingston Parish. I'm a practicing attorney on the civil justice side, and I understand full well how important our court system and access to justice is for all of our community. I'm privileged to be a Democratic candidate for United States Senate this cycle, and I look forward to discussing the issues with you all tonight. I will say, as I've campaigned around the state of Louisiana, the issues remain the same. It's jobs, the economy, health care, pay equity, making sure that we have a livable wage, and making sure that we all work together to create an inclusive society so Louisiana can be her best, and in turn our country can continue to be its best. Thank you very much for having me.
Good evening, my name is Reverend Peter Williams. There's two things that I'm not ashamed of. One is the gospel, and two, being black. I've been doing civil rights for the last 32 years. I'm a product of the system. My father was murdered in New Orleans when I was 1 year and 6 months. My mom had to raise me as a single parent. But in the 60s, you know, you couldn't have a child out of wedlock, and she used to have to carry my dad's death certificate to prove to the system that I wasn't an illegitimate baby. 50 years ago, I heard Martin Luther King's speech, I Have a Dream. And I went to my mom and I said, one day you won't have to prove who I am. I'm gonna be somebody. From that day on, I became a civil rights pioneer. Black, with a spine and not for sale. We're in a crossroads in America, and it's a civil unjust that's going on, and you need a civil rights senator. That's why Hillary picked a civil rights vice president. Thank you.
Hello, how are you? I'm Gary Landrew. And people ask me, what's the difference between you and Mary? Well, I'm 6'5", I weigh 230 pounds. That's pretty much the big difference. Then they ask me why you're running, and I've been on this quest for 5 years. I spent 30 years in business creating jobs and economic opportunity and sharing that opportunity. Before that, I had always believed that the American dream was getting a house with a white picket fence. That's not exactly true for you college people. The real American dream is owning your own business and being in charge of your own destiny. Sending your children to private school and having resources to make life comfortable and rich. I look at my city, my state, and I wonder what happened. Took me a little bit of getting here. I got a 5-year-old named William who's sitting right over there. He's never seen me do this before. Louisiana's last in education, we're last in income, we're last in health, last in quality of life. We have terrible roads, we have a subpar educational system, and Louisiana is notorious for having a huge corruption among its public officials. But how can this be? My time's up, thank you very much. I'm the most qualified person in this race because of all the things I've done in my life. Since I'm 9 years old, I worked at Gem Supermarket on Fillmore and Gentilly Boulevard. It was my first job, I've been working ever since. I've done everything. I worked offshore on oil platforms. I worked as a deputy sheriff in the prison with Charlie Fody. The first restitution program in the United States where we required the inmates to pay the victims of their crime. It wasn't so much that they stole something from somebody, but we made them pay the money back because it didn't do them any good just to spend their time in jail. I went to Tulane University, graduated from there with my major in criminal justice, and I spent the last 35 years in business creating jobs and economic opportunity. And let me tell you what, that is the real solver of all the problems in society, is a good job and good pay. And if we can provide that for everybody out here, the most of the problems in society go away. Thank you.
The reason why this particular audience should vote for me and endorse me, because I represent you. Not sometime, not part-time, not at forums when it's convenient and user-friendly. I deal with being black every day. Some might say, well, why he's on this black-white thing? Ladies and gentlemen, this is a black-white thing. The candidates that are not here, I sit in the forums with them, and I hear how they talk about us like we are subhumans in 2016. But some of the candidates that's on this platform choose not to come because it's not convenient. Or maybe we can hide behind commercials saying that I represent a certain group of people. But if you want a true representative, somebody that's gonna keep it real and understand what this particular group needs, Peter Williams, number 24 on your ballot. Thank you.
I suppose I'll stand as well. So I would hope that all of you would consider supporting me, because fundamentally elections are about the future and not the past. And when you go vote in November, you're going to be choosing a United States Senator, that's true. But the stakes in this election are even higher, because you'll be making a choice about president. And fundamentally what we'll be choosing is, what type of country do we want to be? What type of people are we? Are we going to be an open and inclusive society that talks about good ideas and faces the future together? Or are we going to focus on divisive rhetoric and the politics of the past? It's wonderful to be here at Dillard in this beautiful auditorium in this building, because places like Dillard, great universities around our country, and yes, our state, are where ideas are shared, where you can focus on choosing your own path and being empowered to do so. And as your next United States Senator, I'm going to make it a priority, whether it's college affordability, or it's economic development, or it's equal pay for equal work, to make sure that our society functions for all people, not just the privileged few.
Could I get one of the Dillard students to hold the microphone? Sorry, your name is? Kiana. Thank you, Kiana. Why should you support me? As I mentioned to you, I'm from New Orleans. My mother is a single parent she's a retired school teacher and educator. She taught us the importance of education. without an excellent education, I wouldn't be before you today, right now. And I know how important knowledge and education is. And the fact that we're facing times where politicians are cutting top programs, they're not focusing on opportunities, and I will focus on opportunities for all as it relates to equality. In addition to that, I will also make sure education and improving education in the state of Louisiana and throughout this country is one of my top platforms, in addition to strengthening our economy and reforming healthcare. Thank you.
The one reason why that you all should vote for me is I'm a firm believer that a change must come, not promises. Not promises about better jobs and a windmill may kill a bird. I have a plan to help bring more jobs into Louisiana. First of all, as a senator, I would be able to give grant money. Grant money to those ladies that's on human resources. Partnership with them, train them, give them an opportunity to open their own business. Look at husbands and wives, give them an opportunity to partnership with us. Open business, hire people that don't have jobs. But the most important thing is that I will not, under any circumstances, turn my back on my people because I know what it's like. My goal is to fight for you, fight for your children and your grandchildren.
The reason why I believe you should vote for me, it's both vision and experience. And I have that vision of what New Orleans needs. New Orleans was my home. I'm an engineer from Tulane. And then I went to Stanford and went through their executive program for growing companies. I've worked with developing disadvantaged business enterprise zones. And I've already started doing that here in Louisiana and see an opportunity for Silicon Valley companies to come here. I'm also a Republican who happens to be pro-choice, and I will tell you I've had some uncomfortable moments recently in front of some of the GOP people when I've said I would never send a woman to jail who took the morning after pill. I also believe that I understand a lot about what happened during the Jim Crow era. It impacted a lot of people. So we understand our history, we understand what went on, and actually in 1891, 11 Italians were hung during that era. So it's also understanding where we were and what we need to do as a community to come together to have a great vision and a great future.
When I got married 23 years ago, we were going to a 50-50 black-white church, and almost half of my wedding party was black. And I actually helped several of the black people get jobs. Why? Because they were my friends. I didn't really see color, I didn't grow up that way, and neither did my wife. I think it's time for everybody to join together and help each other. It shouldn't be about one person versus another. We have bigger problems at stake. Corporations get subsidies and money gets taken away from schools. Why shouldn't the Pell Grants have more funding? Why is the government instead taking dollars and wasting them every day? I've got a bachelor's in finance and an MBA from Tulane. What I do every day is appraise businesses, transactions for one business to sell something to another. So I understand the concept of what value is and what waste is, and the government is the biggest waster of tax dollars when they should be putting it towards helping the people, which is what everybody's sent to Congress to do, help the people who elected them.
I really want to help get rid of the racist war on drugs, legalize, tax, and regulate drugs and prostitution. It should be the person's choice. I want to deal with the effects of climate change and how in the United States it could create about 60 million jobs for people. And also, the war on drugs, if you legalize it, taxes will probably bring in about $100,000 each year. I want to create a comprehensive education system so no one in here or in the school should ever pay for to go to college. It should be tuition free for everybody to get an education. And in the next 50 to 75 years, majority of the jobs that you know nowadays will be done by robots. So I want to create a system that you can still live on without having to worry about is your job being taken over by a machine. Thank you.
Reason why you want to vote for me? We don't have a libertarian in Washington, D.C. We need some new leadership, some new policies. I'm the only candidate standing up here saying, stop borrowing $20 trillion. Yeah? That's why you vote for me. Because we don't need no more divide and conquer. Because the Libertarian Party, you can come together and you can voice your opinion without the other side saying you're wrong. You know, at a federal level for the Louisiana state, we should be together because we are resilient. And this is why, you know, I came to the Libertarian Party because of liberty, you know, pursuit of happiness. These things that we can all have together without RNC and the DNC. It's the 21st century. It's time for a new change. It's time for new policies. It's time for new leadership. I'm number 5 on the ballot. I'll be looking forward for your vote. Thank you.
The reason you should vote for me is because I am the American dream. I grew up in South Jefferson Parish on the back of a fishing boat. Since the age of 5, I can remember shoveling shrimp, fish, crabs off the back of a boat. Grew up poor. I didn't know what steak tastes like till I was 17 years old. But I made the right choice. I didn't fall back and complain and cry. As an American Indian in Louisiana, we had challenges. But I chose not to be defined by what I was. I wanted to prove who I was. I made choices. I was born to serve. I joined the United States Marine Corps where leadership was dwelled inside my body. Leadership, accountability, and patriotism. We need to bring those characteristics back to America. And as your senator, I will vow to provide that leadership and a true American patriotism that it'll take to get us where we need to be in the future for everyone, regardless of where you began. In closing, I'd like to say what we need to do in America is prioritize our spending. We don't have a money problem, we have a spending problem. We are the richest nation in resources available to us as a country. But yet we're the brokest country there is. We're trillions of dollars in debt because we overspend. We need to put the important things first: healthcare, education. We can get anywhere and do anything through education. If we teach ourselves, if we motivate ourselves, we can then attract jobs. We can keep them in America. We need to secure our borders. We need to protect our people. We don't need another mass influx like in 1492. It happened. Immigration isn't something new. It's something that happened a long time ago. They about wiped out a whole native people of America. We don't want it to happen again. We need to strengthen our military. We need to secure our borders. We need to create jobs. You need to vote for me. Number 1 on the ballot and number 1 in your heart.
I just want to say thank you so much for having me here tonight. This is really a wonderful to come out here and see you all and speak to people here. You know, stop the borrowing the $1 trillion. You know, stop the war on drugs. That stopped the highest corporate tax rate in the entire world. We can certainly do that. We can certainly do that with new leadership and new policies going into Washington, D.C. It's time for a new change. It's time for a brand new political party to go in there. Nobody's going to get arrested for voting Libertarian. Nobody's going to jail. You're not going to get a ticket or a fine. You know, whatever you register, you can vote Libertarian for the first time. So this is what I ask of all of you: vote Libertarian for the first time. It's the 21st century. Let's start a whole new century here going forward for all of us. So, thank you.
I'm just an independent. I'm running this by myself. I'm doing this on my own dime. But I see this system as it is. It's broken. I mean, we have people in this government who are trying to take voting rights away from us. We have people in this government who think we are not smart enough to notice when they're attacking us, when they're trying to destroy our neighborhoods. But I'm actually the youngest person on this up here because I lived through it. I've been stopped by the police officer. Every day I think, is this the day the police officer is gonna kill me? I'm more scared of the police than I am of gangbangers and drug dealers. That's sad. I know the police officers as well. But when you look at it, you see a system that's broken, you see people who don't want to fix it because it worked fine for them. That's not how we should be in this world. Also, the United States is in the bottom 30 in taxes. Think about, in corporate taxes too, so think about it.
Well, thanks again for spending your evening with us and listening to what we have to say. Really appreciate it. I did go to Tulane, like I said, and when I left Tulane, I ended with $40,000 in debt because I thought it was a great school to go to, and I was able to lock in a 2.25% interest rate on my loan. I haven't met anybody yet who's got an interest rate as low as mine, and the government has full control over what your student loan interest rates are, and they don't do enough about it. They're just now starting to lower rates, but why isn't it essentially almost zero? They like to waste money. They're spending billions of dollars a year on housing people who come to the country illegally and cross the border, and somehow they think that that's more important than starting you off when you finish school, not having to pay an arm and a leg to, when you get your first job out of school to try to get things together for yourself. So interest rates should be cut. Jobs, we have the government outsourcing, allowing companies to outsource tons of jobs, millions of dollars, millions of jobs. It's got to stop.
Again, thank you very much for being here. It's a great opportunity to be in New Orleans speaking again. I wanted to add something. As a financial advisor, I've been working through a lot of issues with Medicaid recently for qualifying for some of my clients, and I'm appalled at what happens. Do you realize you can have a $500,000 home and all the art you want in it, and that's excluded? But if you have a $200,000 home and $200,000 in savings, you got to lose the $200,000. We've really got to address this because it doesn't inspire seniors to save. And there's a lot of other issues that I want to bring to the table in Congress to address. But I've also been very involved with coastal erosion. I just came back from Plaquemines Parish today, going out to see the marshes and what's going on for the 4th time. I have a TV show here in New Orleans called Awesome Wildlife Effort, where I address a lot of environmental issues. The dead zone, again, is something that's critical to me, as is the $12 billion in unfunded pensions. That means a lot of us could retire and not see those. In short, I really feel like we need to get back to being a Teddy Roosevelt type government, and I'm now starting to have Teddy Roosevelt bears. He was a great person for Louisiana. He's been up in northern Louisiana, and he's been down to the coast at Breton Island. So just take a stop, be a Teddy. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm a firm believer in education. I have a 15-year-old daughter who, from birth, we read to her. Today she's 15. She goes to regular school during the day, college at night. My 13-year-old son, he was just skipped 2 grades. He's getting ready to go to the seminary at night next fall. But I want to say this to you all. Although I believe in education, I'm a firm believer in education. Each and every one of these people will tell you that they are going to do the best thing for you. They're going to do this, they're going to do that, they're going to do the other. But I will promise you one thing, it's nothing they will be able to do without a senior senator. What's needed now is for you all to stand up, demand your rights. Let no one take that from you, because nobody can do nothing without you.
I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. My name is Derek Edwards. I'm a Democrat. I'm not a politician. I'm a public servant. And that's why I've entered this race, to serve you, the people of this great state. Politicians individuals, the candidates up here, there are 24 candidates in this race. They're gonna promise you any and everything, but no candidate can achieve results without working with the other 99 senators. If you go to my website, DerrickEdwards2016.com, I've pledged to work with the other 99 senators to get results for the people of Louisiana. Unlike the candidate to my left, Ms. Fayard, in her failed run for lieutenant governor in 2010, she indicated, "I hate Republicans." And when you don't have an individual that can work with a team to get results, then Louisiana will not move forward. Thank you.
I want to say thank you again this evening for having me. My name is Caroline Fayard. I'm running for United States Senate, Democratic female, number 9 on the ballot. And I just wanted to say that perhaps tonight, in the brief time that we've had, you have learned a little bit about my story, and I hope that you check out more of it via Facebook and my website. But what's important as the next United States Senator is really, it's not about my story. It's about your story. It's about each and every single one of you, and the type of future that you want, and the type of advocate that you need in Washington, D.C., making sure that your needs and your issues are being heard, so we can create a community that works for all of us, for the future, for our children, our grandchildren, and beyond. So I promise that as your next United States Senator, that is one thing I can do. If you elect me in November, I'll be sure to make sure your stories are heard in Washington, D.C. Thank you very much.
I too just want to thank everyone for inviting me. I didn't just wake up and say I'm gonna run for U.S. Senator. I ran for Congress in 2013. I ran for Congress in 2014. I was in the race with Edward Edwards, Peter Williams. I have a background also, but I don't wear it on my shoulder and I don't use it as a resume booster. I have a college degree, met my wife in college. She has a college degree. We've been married 35 years. We have 4 children, all of them went to public school by choice, okay? They all 4 went to college. 3 of them out, baby girl, she's next, better be. By the time she finished, we'll have 6 college degrees in our home. Everybody saying yes ma'am, no tattoos, no sagging pants, everybody working, good citizens. Why are you saying that? I knew I had to be a role model, not only for me, but many that look like me. There's one first family leaving Washington in January. Why don't you send a second family? Peter Williams and his wife, number 24. Thank you.
Ms. Fayard's story, as she tells you, is that she has a rich daddy and she's going to buy this election if she can. It's that simple. If that's what you want to go to Washington to represent you, then vote for her. I wouldn't recommend it. If you want somebody who's going to go to Washington that thinks like you, acts like you, has been where you've been, grew up in the same place you grew up in, shares your values, then vote for me. If you want somebody that's going to go to Washington who's not going to play around anymore with what belongs to Louisiana, they're talking about taking away our $500 million a year, the little pittance that we get out of the Gulf of Mexico. They're talking about taking it away. I'm not going to let them take it away. They're going to take it away over my dead body. And that's the attitude that I'm going to go to Washington with, because for the last 100 years they've been taking from Louisiana, and Derrick, you're wrong. You go up there and you let them keep taking and taking and taking, and we're going to end up just like we are, the poorest state in the nation, the poorest region in the nation, and we're going to end up wondering what happened. You send me to Washington, I'm going to represent you very well. I'll do a great job for you. I'm Gary Landry, number 14. That's little William Landry over there.